Hi folks, Steven here. So you may remember that last week I put up a video describing my collection of Pokemon music on vinyl, and I had mentioned that April 16th is Record Store Day. And, I decided this year I was going to go. And you know what? I picked some stuff up, and we're going to talk about that. I'm kind of hoping that this video gives you a little bit of a better idea of what my taste in music is outside of Pokemon. In any case, there were 5 locations here in Madison that you could go to for Record Store Day. I went to one, and there's a particular reason for that. I'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but the place I actually went to was the Mad City Music Exchange, which is over a couple blocks east of the Capitol building. And, I got there a little after 11. I wasn't, super intent on getting anything on the Record Store Day list. But, so I didn't have to get there, a couple hours before they opened or anything. I decided I would just go there and kind of browse for a bit. Because when I go to a record store, generally I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm kind of expecting something to find me. That might sound a little strange, but that is kind of my approach to looking for music sometimes. Now, speaking of finding me, some stuff I actually did. I picked up some things. And just a quick disclaimer, can't guarantee that all of the songs I'm featuring here are going to be family friendly. But in any case, the first thing I have is a 12-inch record. This is a extended single for Paula Abdul's Straight Up, one of her top songs. And, I always am on the lookout for alternate versions and remixes and stuff like that, so I was pretty happy to find this over at the store. Next up, I have a couple singles. They're songs. They're on 45 RPM record, and they're from a movie that is one of the first movies I remember seeing in theaters. They're from Ghostbusters 2. You kind of notice that I have a bit of a late 80s bend in my musical tastes. But the two songs, you can see the first one here, like I said, 45 RPM record. This is Bobby Brown's On Our Own from that movie. And the second one is Howard Huntsberry's cover of Higher and Higher, which was used in the Statue of Liberty scene in that movie. Very iconic part of that movie. But yeah, I was definitely, because I was growing up around then, I was definitely a Ghostbusters fan, and I'm cautiously optimistic about the reboot movie coming out this summer. I think it's perhaps a little bit better than the trailers have sort of shown thus far. But in any case, a few more things. So this is the last of the used music that I picked up this year. This is a stereo test record. So not the kind of thing that I would probably usually buy, but I've started looking at a YouTube channel called Oddity Archive, which is kind of in the PG-13 territory sometimes. But it covers retro audio-visual type stuff. So records, 8-track tapes, old video formats, all that kind of stuff. And they did an episode a while back on test records. And so I figured I saw this, I thought, I may never use this to actually test my record player, but it's just kind of an interesting thing to have. Alright, so there are a couple actual new things that I picked up. The first one is another 45 RPM record. It's a single by Kate Pearson. Now, if you don't know who Kate Pearson is, she's one of the vocalists in the B-52s. She's put out some solo work recently. Last year there was an album. And this was just released today. It's not part of the actual Record Store Day program, but it was released for Record Store Day, or on that day, I should say. But in any case, it's a cover of the Shocking Blue / Bananarama song Venus. And, I know the original song, and I was just kind of curious to see what some of the members of the B-52s are up to, I guess. So, bought this. And so this is Record Store Day. But actually, I did pick up a cassette as well. Now, this is kind of a special thing. Take a look at this. It's called The Smart Studio Story, and it sort of ties into the Record Store Day this year's movie. I don't know if they've done that before, but this year there is a movie tie-in. And the whole story is actually about a studio. It still exists, although under a different name here in the Madison area, and there was a bunch of different songs that were recorded there. But like I said, this is tied into all of that. And it's got some music that was recorded at the studio back in the 1980s. Now, you notice this is autographed. It's autographed by Butch Vig and Steve Marker, which, if those names aren't familiar, they're from the band Garbage, which also got its start here in Madison and recorded some stuff at the studio. And they were there. The cassettes were handed out, and then they, did autographs. So I figured, well, I may as well get this recorded since they were involved with it. So definitely glad I went to Record Store Day this year, and I think I'll definitely go again next year. Now, if you missed out on this and you want to go to something like this, there should be a Record Store Day next year, but there should also be this fall a cassette store day. It kind of runs parallel to this. Last year it was in October. They announced it last summer, so hopefully this summer they'll announce one for this year. But you can check that out. They have a website, and keep an eye out on that if you want to do that. Or, to be honest, just go to your local record store. Any time of year is good for that. You never know what you might find. All right, folks, thanks. Appreciate you sticking to the end. I just wanted to remind you that in addition to the video I posted last week about my Pokemon vinyl collection, I also posted a couple of written articles, and these are related to the Wisconsin States that was earlier this month. And there's 2 interviews. One of them is with one of the top 8 finishers in the Masters division of the trading card game competition. He had a Giratina EX, but not maybe quite the deck you're used to seeing. The other interview is with the winner of the Masters Division of the Mid-Season Showdown video game competition that was also held at the same location. So both of those are a good read, and I will have cards for each of them, and I strongly recommend that you take a look. All right, folks, thanks.